Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are in the world watching this. My name is Andrew Jacka. I'm chairman of the Asia Pacific Spa and Wellness Coalition, and very, very excited to be here today to discuss cultural appreciation and cultural appropriation in the wellness industry. For this, I'd like to say particular thanks to Cate Peterson and Deborah at SoulAdvisor for coordinating with these other speakers from around Australia and beyond. Everybody will introduce themselves to be far easier, but this will be a free-flowing conversation. We don't have a set of questions or anything, and it's designed to be an introduction into this subject. We will see as time goes on how deep we'll get into it, or maybe we do lots of other recordings afterwards, and it's all part to how you feed back to us. So thank you very much to everybody behind the scenes who's helping this bring this to reality, especially Alyssa, who is monitoring the APSWC Facebook page as we go live with this as well. So, right, very warm welcome, everybody. Looking forward to a very spirited conversation. And I'd like to hand the floor over to Cate Peterson at SoulAdvisor.
Thank you so much, Andrew, and thank you for everybody at APSWC for having us come along and inviting SoulAdvisor to partner with you in this discussion. It's a discussion that I think is really important, but before we even go anywhere near it, I'd love to invite Jrumpinjinbah just to welcome us to country, if he would be so kind.
Yes, love to. I just want to do a cultural welcome in my father and my mother's language. Got to pay respects to them grannies, them old grannies on all sides, and I just want to do it in the process of how we got to pay that respects back. So, Makwatang Najang, Maramarang, Tomikan Manimandirian, Kuminangala, Jrumpinjinbah, Andragedi, Yamathan, Yaramatang, Chulaba, Gilabina, Ewan, Barawang, Durga Daga, Baweraweri, Gadigal, and all the different mobs all around from Australia that I've been affiliated with, all my clans and people I've been affiliated with worldwide. Thank you for having me here today. I know most of the people in there, but I haven't officially met them. I only met Kirt, but it's lovely to see all your faces. And the language I spoke in was on my father's side, which is the Aboriginal down in Victoria, Australia, and on my mother's side, it's on the eastern seaboard here of New South Wales, which is all Yuin country that I claim from my great-great-grandmother's dreaming on all sides. So on that, Makatang Najang, Makatang Najang, Makatang Najang means welcome through the language, through the blood of the land of the mother, the language, the earth.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And I acknowledge this beautiful land that I'm on too, Yuin country down here with Jrumpinjinbah. It's been a spectacular day. We've seen mating black snakes and orcas and incredible bird life, and we feel very, very lucky to be on this land down here, and pay deep respects to all those that have been before us and looked after it so beautifully. And hope that what we're doing here, both for our Australian audience and everybody beyond our Australian audience, helps us establish a little bit more connection and respect for each other, and therefore helps us look after this incredible land, the waters, the seas, and the skies. So welcome, everybody. So we have people on the panel tonight, and as Andrew has expressed, we're going to be talking about cultural appreciation and cultural appropriation. There couldn't be a more important time to talk about this, because in a wider sense, the merits and also the great failings of globalization. And we're talking about the necessity to really understand what lineage is about, our deep connection, each one of us on this planet, is to country. So we've got some amazing panelists tonight, and I'm just going to go around and ask you each to introduce yourselves so that we can talk a little bit about why you've been invited here tonight and get the conversation started. So do you mind if we leave you to last now that you've done the welcome?
Absolutely.
Okay. So who's the eldest among you? I think let's talk to our beautiful Wayapu people. So we've got Jamie Marley Thomas here, and we've got Sarah Jones, the founders of Wayapu Work. And perhaps you guys would just say a little bit about what Wayapu Work is as a wellness modality for those that don't know, and talk about whatever you like for a minute.
Thanks very much, Kate, and thanks, Uncle, for that welcome and acknowledgement. Ngiltaba Malu Kratanganai. Hello, I'm Jamie Thomas. I'm all the way from Southeast Australia, and I'm the co-creator of Wayapu Work, which is a wellness modality steeped in ancient connection and wellness practices. And this is the amazing
Sarah Jones, who's also a co-creator. So here on beautiful Guringai Country in the far east coast of Australia.
And Welsh Canadian, naturalised Australian now, and Bush girl up here. So we look forward to sharing this conversation with you mob tonight.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. And we'll talk a little bit about what Wayapu actually is, because it's such an important modality. Yeah. And I'm not sure who's older, Kirt or Lila.
I think I am.
Older the wiser.
Please introduce yourself.
So, hi everybody out there. I'm speaking to you from Lutruwita, which is the Palawa name for Tasmania. So Palawa First Nations down here. So just like to acknowledge them as the traditional custodians down here on this beautiful island that I've grown up on. So I've been here. I've trained as a teacher, musician. I work with little people, with old people, using music and creative play as for therapy and for fun. I play music. And I'm also a Lomi Lomi massage practitioner. I've chosen Lomi Lomi only 5 years ago. It came to me, actually. I'm Samoan. My father's Samoan. Lomi Lomi is connected as a Polynesian practice. So, I've got lots of bits in my little bag full of wellness for wellness practice. So, and I'm really thankful to Kate and Andrew for having me here and inviting me on, and beautiful to meet you other lot here as well. It's really nice. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity and to share whatever I have, and inspiration comes tonight and in the future.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Lila, and it's so beautiful to have you here. Lila and I have never actually met in the flesh, but one day we will. And Kirt, who I'd love to ask you to have a little chat about where you hail from and who you are in the wellness world. Yeah.
Yamagata, everyone. I'm Kirt. Hello, nice to meet you all. And I am on Guringai Country. I'm a Mualgal man, Torres Strait Islander, but I was born and bred here on the Central Coast, New South Wales, which is Guringai land. And I own and operate, I don't own anything, but I operate a yoga studio and an organic cafe here on the Central Coast. I am a yoga teacher, yoga therapist. I also do a lot of things like spiritual counseling, access consciousness. I do some sacred ceremony work, men's circles, quite a lot of different modalities, rebirthing breath work as well. It's been a thing I've been studying under Gemstone, and it's been amazing to be delving deep into that realm. And yeah, I'm just happy to be on this board and to be sharing with you guys. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for being with us.
It's a huge delight, and it's really lovely that we've all come together. And I think that beautiful little quip that you just made about, actually, I don't own anything, is probably fundamental to this discussion, because what is ownership and what is unity? Those of us who are yoga teachers and Waiapa practitioners and Lomi practitioners, it's all about what actually thinking into what are we actually doing here? Yes, we've all got our different ways of bringing about healing on these lands, and we've all got our different ways of being therapists, practitioners, whatever we are. But what is the fundamental crux of our inspiration for working with other people? And I'm opening up that as a question to all of you, like, what is wellness? What is this wellness world that we're trying to involve ourselves in?
Before we go there, can Jrumpinjinbah introduce himself?
Oh, yeah, you didn't. Well, we kind of did, but anyway.
Oh, okay.
You want to introduce yourself?
That's right.
Right, okay.
I was going to sing a song, but I'll have to save it for later.
No
So I'm
worries.
going to introduce a little bit about Jrumpinjinbah. So we're working really strongly together at the moment here on country and Yuin country, bringing about a healing activation. And Jrumpinjinbah's part in that is fundamental. But I guess what we could say is that he helps people understand what connection to country and culture is all about. So,
Like all of you do.
yeah.
All in our own way.
Yeah, everyone's right, no one's wrong.
Yeah. No, can I just throw in here? I mean, because of the audience, like normally for the Asia Pacific Spiral Wellness Coalition, we are so hung up about legalities and rules and regulations, and for the spa sector, especially where it's all about relaxation. And as we've moved on, and I think probably highlighted because of COVID and the increased awareness of mental well-being, etc., it's interesting to have this opportunity to talk with all of you who are healers in your own right. You're not massage therapists per se, right? Maybe you've got that skill, but you're much beyond that. So I think it's very exciting to have you all here to talk to you, and especially when you start talking about cultural appreciation and cultural appropriation. Obviously, very topical in Australia. Yes, I am Australian. I'm currently in Australia for this recording, right? But for those who are watching as well, right, there is a huge amount of knowledge here to learn. And even already with the introduction, there's been lots of words which for many are probably completely foreign languages again. So there's a huge learning curve that we've all got to come into if we're going to move this thing forward and stop living in the dark ages. So, as I've long said, we as an industry have raped and pillaged our forebears. And here we've got some people who are actually giving respect to their forebears. And it's something we can all learn from, right? And it's something I think we all should learn from, right? What form that learning takes, well, time will tell. But yeah. Okay, I'll shut up and hand it back to somebody else.
No, but Andrew, thank you so much for framing that for the audience, because I think it's really important. It's absolutely true. And I'm noticing that Jamie wanted to chime in with something there. So would you like to talk to that?
No, I was just going to say I'm actually a trained massage therapist. So anyway, aside that, I was going to throw it open to Uncle there to start the conversations in a manner of respect. So, Uncle, do you want to say something in relation to Andrew's statement?
Yeah, I do. See, I'm one of them mob that don't fill up when I start. So Kate's got to pull me up. You know what it's like when you start talking, because the story that we share is passed down through the language of our grandmothers and grandmothers and grandmothers, and it goes right back to first sunrise with me. And even though I've got Scottish, Irish, Sicilian, Spanish, and Chinese married in, I respect that. But at the end of the day, everyone worldwide is equal. No one's greater than anyone else in the way I see it. And everyone's story is right because it's what's been shared. And when everyone looks at it, the land is your mother. It birthed you from, see, every one of us, our name was already there before we came into the world. We got smacked, we breathe out and see a bright light. And we're all on our journey to find out who we are, what our purpose is, and what have we got to give back. And then when we come to the end of that journey, we get smacked again and we see a bright light. So we're not reincarnated, we're always there, walking in the footsteps of them old grandmothers, the way I see it. And as I said, everyone's story's right. Andrew is spot on what he says. And even each and every one of you, the way you've done yours, welcome. It's an appreciation of respect from your bloodline, from your dreaming, from your song lines, from wherever you come from. You're representing all that clan that's way back behind you that come from First Sunrise. And quickly, I can't sum it up because the story never stops. It's like sound. Sound just keeps traveling. It never dies out. And when we tell a story and we sit and we look at a beautiful scenery, that scenery is us because we come from the land there we shall return. Every tree breastfeeds oxygen to every living thing. Every tree is different. It's like people, all different. The thing is that them trees, that's us. That's our grandmothers. That's their grandmothers, breastfeeding oxygen so that we can be who we are to share this story to make sure that we all live in harmony. So that everyone is belonging. It's about belonging. Who belongs where? Who belongs what? It's about who you are, what you contribute, and how we're so blessed to be here to talk about this today. I'll be over in Oniara over there to do a gig over there for the Solomon Mob. And over there in Darwin to do some work with all First Nation doctors and nurses worldwide that come out, and we're going to have a big conference up there. But I get invited to these things just to go and talk, to share, to be a part of it. I also look after the first Aboriginal, I hate that word, the First Nations people of this country here in Australia that created a retirement village for aged Aboriginal elders. We've got to look after our old people. We've got to make sure that they're safe. I'll cut it really quick there because I don't want to talk too much. I want everybody to have a say. But later on, I'm going to sing a little song here just to make sure that we're all tuned in respect to knowing who you are, where you come from, because I know for a fact that each and every one of you sitting there on your left-hand side, where your heart is, women are the only one that have children. Us men are useless. It's all about the belonging of women. And then you know that your grandmothers are sitting there with you on your mother's side and your father's side protecting you. And that's what it's all about, the belonging of who we are.
Beautiful. Thanks, Ark. I just want to echo what Ark said then in relation to the oneness of humanity. I think that, my teachings are culture. Culture is important, but it's not important, but it's important.
Yeah.
It's important because as who we are, it's not important because we are all humans, but it's important because it's how we explain and connect to well-being and where well-being comes from. And I think the conversation that's been happening in relation to appropriation and appreciation is that we've forgotten an important word when we talk about mind, body, spirit, well-being. We've forgotten to add the word earth, our mother. Okay, so when we talk about mind, body, spirit, we're going to talk about earth, mind, body, spirit, because our mother is what makes us well. So what we talk about and what we do is looking after our mother every day in what we do, from the latest iPhone to the latest this, that, whatever. But from a cultural appropriation appreciation point of view, when you look at ancient ways of connection, as I talked about, each and every one of us here tonight, whether you're in Australia, you're overseas, you all have a culture, you all have a connection, and it all can be explained and told in your stories. But at the end of the day, What's really important is how you actually connect to it as an individual and how you look after it. So when I got taught to share stuff, it was always about getting permission. Okay, so getting permission to share a story. And, you know, we can read a book and go, oh, that's good, or we can do this. But in actual practicality, it's about how for thousands and hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors gave a practice to the next person face to face. So they had to go through that process of learning that well-being practice, whether it be singing a song, whether it be energy healing, whether it be massage, whether it be medicines, and then they will pass it on face to face to the next person. So from my point of view, sitting in this space here, when we talk about appreciating that we all have different ways of well-being, how can we share that? I think we're actually living in an amazing time where we've got the luxury of being a global village now, where we all bring our medicine to the table and we all say, well, I will share this with you, I will show you, I will teach you. But one of the most important things I was told and passed on was appreciating the people who taught and shared with me. So that for me is about appreciating where that knowledge comes from, where that practice comes from. And, you know, obviously it's always the mother, the greatest mother of earth, the greatest mother of our lineage, the bearer of children, but it's also about understanding that. So the line and the threshold of crossing over from appropriation is where you don't do that. You don't acknowledge where you learned that information, that knowledge. You don't, go back and learn that from the original peoples. And I think that we're in a really amazing time with technology where we can connect and share this amazing, world of wellness, both from, where we are tonight on Zoom, or it's not Zoom, what are we on? But by saying that everyone's welcome to my house for a cup of tea, or our house for a cup of tea up here in Gippsland, Australia. But so,
I'll come with a bus load.
We'll be around there in half an hour.
This journey of sharing our ways of connectivity and wellness is one for the whole world as humans. But then the different ways that we connect to it, because we come from different parts of the world. And each part of Mother Earth has medicine. Each part of Mother Earth has wellness. And we can all connect to that culturally. We can all bring that to the space to share it. So, with Waiapa, Waiapa is a global practice of connectivity for all human beings. You can connect to it individually and you connect to it culturally, but it's still the same thing we're talking about. That's what I love about it. So I'll pass it over to someone else. Sarah, did you want to say something? Because you're probably a little bit younger than me, but not quite as young as
others.
Yeah, I can add to that. It's just absolutely, we've got to give gratitude where it's due, and that's first and foremost where we stand. And it doesn't matter where we are, we've always got to respect and honor and appreciate the land upon which has constantly nurtured us. It's always nourished us. It's always clothed us. It's fed us. It's put a shelter over our heads. And it doesn't matter what culture, what background you have, where you are on the planet, it's so important to acknowledge where you stand. And also your roots are connected to all these places. And this is what brings us all together. We're in a beautiful part in time where we are unifying, and there's, as much as people want to segregate and separate, it's not about that anymore. It's whether people are talking about patriarchy, matriarchy, all that BS, it's that's got to go, and it's all about unity now, and we are coming together, and we're able to offer and share so much. We've got, everyone has something to offer, everyone has something to learn as well. So this is where we do get into this nice flow of reciprocity, and it's never ending, it's infinite. Our growth, our evolution, and this is consciousness. at its finest. It's coming through, and it's great to be a part of it. And we all have our role to play. So it doesn't matter who you are, where you are. We're all doing it, and we're being it.
Thank you, Kirt. Yeah, Lila, do you want to chime in there? I love just that whole.
Yeah. So I've thought about this topic since we were invited to speak about it and share. And up here, this whole, lots of unraveled words and which perspective. Anyway, so I'm going to just share what my head was thinking today. So firstly, is what is cultural appreciation and what is cultural appropriation? And so what is it? So I think cultural appreciation, because I do see lots of cultural appropriation in many forms around in the wellness industry. I mean, wellness industry, for a start, that word industry. Thinking about and my Hafakasi Samoan English roots background, so that it's confusing, right? Cultural appropriation is about taking someone's culture or aspects of, and perhaps using it for their own personal gain, whether that be financial or ego or status, or just because of not understanding where the hell it comes from, because they learned it from someone who learned it from someone who learned it from someone who got permission before that, who learned it from someone else. But it's sort of a very watered down version. Whereas cultural appreciation is when we really honor and respect, like we've said, we honor who's shared that knowledge with us, and we've got permission, and we understand the roots of it. So I think I'm making sense of this myself.
It's all right.
Yeah, it is. And also the story, like my journey of making sense of this, as my lineage comes from, I'm from 5th generation Australian settler. And I'm 2nd generation First Nations Samoan. So there's a whole, so I choose Samoan culture and to understand that because it's easier. And when I'm thinking about who our audience or Asian wellness practitioners, and I don't know, but that is a very rich through history and time. And I know from experience, where do I find my roots in my English, on my English side? Well, where does it come from in Asia? So tracking back generation to where we connect with the earth. So it's very multi-layered conversation. But in essence, what I do know is that yes, earth is our mother. Earth is where we find all the answers from, and right relationship with our selves, with our fellow humans, with our fellow other living beings and the earth and all of the elements. So right relationship is where we start healing more and more. And it's very interesting that in Asia, I think it's a very massive industry, like the wellness and spa industry. So that's really exciting that you have so many practitioners out there really interested and wanting to heal, use their skills in healing, which is also exciting, because once we understand more about our own lineage and history and connection to right balance, right relationship, then the better off we are, like Kirt said. We're in a good place right now, a good time.
I mean,
does that make any sense?
As the sort of the non-healer here, let's call me that for want of a better description, right?
Don't believe that, Andrew. No, I'm not calling you that.
Well, as we're all answering questions, right, and all giving answers and some incredible knowledge, and I mean, Kirt, I mean, I worship the ground you walk on, man. I mean, so in tune with what you're saying. As you're talking, you're actually, for me, creating so many more questions, to the point that I really don't even know which one to throw up there. We've got a bit of sound interference here somewhere, so I apologize for that. But in terms, I mean, just taking what you've all said there about where you're talking, to me, you're coming from a community that has respect, and coming from the broader industry, for those who maybe are new to the industry, to the spa and wellness sector. Let's not call it industry, spa and wellness sector. How do we, show them respect, or give them respect, or teach them the respect that you guys seem to have ingrained in you and just oozes out of your pores naturally? Anybody?
Yeah, I think whatever we go in and learn, or for me, just find out about it, like learn its roots. So if we're learning yoga, then of course Kirt would have learned the roots of it and where it comes from. And yes, we do the asana poses, but that's only a tiny little element of it, right? It's a whole philosophy. So I think any healing modality you do, just learn it, go in and find all the bits and find where that comes from, and find, why do we do this? Why am I doing this? Like, where does that come from?
So copy paste doesn't work.
I think, Lila, how I express that is exactly saying the same thing as you're saying, but it's falling in love with what you're doing, which is a heart thing. And it's really important to know where the lineage came from, that overwhelming desire to connect back to where it came from and to bring it forward. So to be in that lineage, or that tsunami flow of healing that can come through all the modalities that we all practice. And, that word industry is an interesting one always for me too, because it implies that it's about making money. And often you see, of course, we all need to live. I'm not taking that away. I'm not saying we should do what we do for free in any way, shape or form, but we also need to move away from that continual framing of the wellness industry as a multi-billion-dollar industry. Yes, there's opportunity there, and yes, that opportunity might be great for bringing healing about on this planet, but also we can't frame it in terms of you're going to go out there and make megabucks, because it just is such a bad imperative. That's my feeling. What's that?
No. What I just wanted to add to that, you see, all our points we're talking about, it's like that big jigsaw puzzle. The piece fits in there. When that piece is finished, that piece of the jigsaw is finished, that's only one minute piece in the next one. If I was to say to each and every one of you, imagine that you're the tip of this pin, right? And throw you up in the universe, and I say, go and find yourself. Look for the tip of that pin in the universe. You'd be mind-boggled. How am I going to do that? But then if I said, become the tip of the pin and look down, what can you see?
Yeah.
And where each and every one of us are, you carry the DNA of belonging on language from your ancestral background that gives you the rites of passage to be who you are. You're answerable to yourself to say, I'm going to share and deliver. And when you do that, it's who you are. You're complete within yourself. You look at the tree, you thank the mother, you hug a tree, say, thank you for breastfeeding me oxygen. As Brother Boy up in the top there said, from Waiapa. When you start connecting and respecting, it's like you, Andrew, you know, like if I said to you, Andrew, have a look in the mirror and look back at yourself, you would see something. But if I said, Andrew, close your eyes and look out into the belonging of everything out there and embrace it back into yourself, you're the only one who knows what you're seeing. And that's your vision of right and your passage of right to share that experience. Spiritually, when we all pass from the flesh language, we're all one thing. There's no them, no us, it just is. It's like that no beginning, no end. It's the circle. When you see a rainbow, you only see the top half. The other half is encompassed in the womb of the mother of creation in the land. And it's got another 7 colours, which is 14. Traditionally, it means that you become an adult of a male or a female. Brothers, boys, there know what I'm talking about. And then when you adapt that into who you are, everyone has the same story. It's a story of belonging, of who we are, where we come from. And I always give the utmost respect, and I sit and close my eyes and I wait for them old grandmothers to tell me what to say. And they're telling me what to say here at this meeting today, this gathering, this sharing, this belonging of us people. You count the numbers, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 men. And there's 4 women. Well, really, there's 5 of them. But there's 4 women, which give you the number 9, which is birth. It takes 9 months to have a baby. You turn 9 upside down, it's 6, which is the passing back into the dream time. And when you join them 2 numbers together, it gives you the number 3 in synchronicity, which is the number 8, which is infinity. Yeah. Yeah. But that's only a small portion of that jigsaw puzzle of that story. There's many stories each and every one of us carry. And when people are just wanting to hear them. If they don't want to hear them, it's their choice. You can't breathe for anyone.
Yeah, 100%. No, I love it. That was like, and I think that, and I know that this is universal when I say that the wellness industry, the wellness sector, the wellness space is obviously human focused, and I think that that's great. But at the end of the day, looking after Mother Earth, and one of the things that I got taught, Cate, was that being a millionaire isn't a bad thing, or a billionaire. It's what you do with that money is what's important. So imagine if all the billionaires actually funneled money back into the planet. Look, it's not about Mars and Mars bars and stickers and going up there. Look after this space here with the billions of dollars, and look after centres that look after our biodiversity. Our rainforests, our forests, our deserts, our oceans, our species. Because I think humans, our egos have just become so out of control. Is that we've forgotten that we only just that little grain of sand on the beach that is a part of the whole, and that we have to make sure that we keep giving back in some way. So if we take an economic view of both what we can do individually looking after the planet, looking after country, but also an economic view of where we can actually funnel our financial sharing, to groups that are actually looking after the planet, looking after country. I think that the wellness industry will be better off. So that appreciation and appropriation, and I think that Lila said it beautifully before, it's about just take, as opposed to I'm going to take some, but I want to give some. I'm going to take some. And I think that, this conversation, for us at Waiapa is about putting, the planet and other species a part of us. So, I really love this yarn because it's, we've got, ancient Mobia and sharing this with, all of the world, all of Southeast Asia, because them mob had it too. And I think that, this conversation needs to be retabled for all of humanity to get back to that. And I'll quickly share a quick story. There was an Indian lady that come up to me after a Waiapa session one day, and she goes, my brother, we've got it all wrong. I said, what do you mean, sis? She said, well, I teach yoga from my village, which is 850 years old. It's not goat yoga, wine yoga, hot yoga. It's old yoga. She said, but we're still not talking about what you're talking about. But I said, but sis, you used to. I know you did. All ancient cultures did. We've just gotten away from the conversation. So I think that, when we talk about appreciation of the practices that we do, it is honoring the mother. It is honoring what we can give to receive, and it's honoring, and not just today, and this is what we talk about, well-being is for the next 1,000 generations. It's not just about today. It's about the perpetuity of humanity for the generations to come. And Indigenous cultures, ancient cultures knew this, and I think that as a whole, as 8 billion people on the planet, we've forgotten that. We've got amnesia. We've forgotten that well-being goes for generations, not just for today. So I'm sorry, Andrew, I've exploited the conversation into a bigger stratosphere, but I think it's really important that, we do talk about the healings, and I give Sarah a massage the other nights, and, we eat good, healthy food, and we look after country, but, there's a bigger conversation we had maybe at a later date.
No, look, for sure. And as I said right at the start, this was done as an introduction. And I mean, like when I first contacted to Cate and Deborah at SoulAdvisor, I mean, the direction we were going and the direction we sort of going now is I probably approached it with a very narrow viewpoint, and connecting with you now, you've sort of expanded the horizons a little. So, right. And, I mean, I do hope that we can continue these conversations, be it in a group situation like this or on a one-on-one situation. And I hope a lot of our audience have the opportunity to do that as well. So, I mean, I'm basically meeting everybody here for the first time in any great detail. And I think all of you are inspirational in your own ways. And, groundbreaking sort of stuff here that we can definitely all learn from. So
one quick thing, Andrew.
Yes.
What everybody's got to remember, that everything they're looking at, everything comes from the land. There it shall return.
Yeah.
No matter if it's electric car, if it's Mr. So-and-so's plane that goes to the moon, it always comes back to the land, brother. The mother owns everything, not us.
And yes, and with all wellness practices and all of the healing practices, in its essence is the land. That's where it comes from.
Yep.
So the more we talk and are curious about what is cultural appreciation and what's cultural appropriation, we open our eyes and our antennas go up, and we will all go away now and recognize, where does that come from? And in our own practice, we'll be curious and go, wow, okay, yes, I know that what I'm practicing is, in essence, comes from the land, comes from the earth, comes from the cosmos. We are all, we just think about it and are aware of it, we will begin to understand more.
Yeah, we're definitely all energy we're all a part of it. And just as everyone's coming back to that, the cosmology of it all, it's something that everything is sacred. We are on sacred land, and doesn't matter what type of wellness practitioner, so-called healer, whatever work that you're doing, we're actually just helping people activate their own capacity to heal, but we are doing sacred work on sacred lands. So that's probably the most important thing, is for people to acknowledge the land that they're on, knowing that they are tapping into something a lot deeper, and through doing that, we're going to be doing much more potent work. We're going to do what's necessary and get it done. And I totally agree with how important it is also to really honor the lineages that we come from, but also the lineages that we're working with, because there is also a blueprint to what we do. There's a lot of fluff out there. There's a lot of new age philosophies that are straying a bit from the path. But if you come back to nature, come back to the sacred geometry, which it's all there. You can't miss it. It's something that if we simplify it, keep it potent, but just honoring where we are and what we're doing, but where we come from, and it's just going to create these alignments, which we're going to not only align ourselves, but align those that we're working with as well.
It's so beautifully expressed. Just the re-gridding of all of us as parts or aspects or bits of humanity, and coming back into what is probably the highest form of being a human, which is being custodial, having the capacity and to take care of country has to be the highest expression. And we do that as healers, we're taking care of each other as aspects of country. And we're in a beautiful position to bring that to people's attention. And that really is real appreciation. The culture of healing, we've all have walked before, the culture of what we've been given in custodianship to pass on, all of those things. And if we live in that deep gratitude, what better way to be on this planet?
Yeah, I definitely think coming from a place of humility and understanding and listening, and when we're, are humble of what we've been taught and acknowledging what we've been taught from those teachers, that, we can stand in that integrity of passing on the knowledge when we have permission to do so. And that's where we know it's appreciation for all that we have has been shared with us. I think that's really important. And that's something that we do all the time within Waiapa, because we've got people of practitioners from all different backgrounds, and everybody taps into their own ancestry, which again goes back to our ancestry, that goes back to when we lived in harmony with Mother Earth, and understanding that it's just, we're probably having this conversation because we have become disconnected, that we have appropriation in the first place. So
I talked to that.
It's the original sin, isn't it? Appropriation. In some ways, yeah. Well,
no, I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but as I said before, I mean, as everybody talks, it's just like so many questions throwing out there that it's like I don't know which one to even continue the conversation with. All right.
I'm just a phone call away.
Okay. So we'll put the phone number on the bottom of the screen, and everybody can continue.
It's so important.
As I said at the start, this is a start of a conversation for the Asia Pacific Spiral Wellness community. right? You know, across the region, we do show some respect to our traditional forebears in terms of the practices from which we borrow, right? Namely things like Thai massage, Hilot in the Philippines, Uratan, Malaysia. You know, there is some respect shown, but there's a whole different level here of connectivity, and I think probably as Lila said it, about the real understanding of what it is we're doing. It's not a case of copy paste. It's not a case of just going through the movements. It really is a case of understanding, why are we doing this, right? What benefits does it bring to me as the practitioner? What does it benefit to those who are around me? What benefit does it bring to my family, right?
It's actually it's like embodying it. It's embodying the practice, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So more you understand and come with humility and come with love and learn from the heart, the more we embody that actual practice in ourselves, and then we're able to what's the word? Give that to other, offer it to others.
Yeah.
Stronger we can become, the more that we understand, the more potent, I think Kirt said that, the more potent the practice is, and the less it's watered and filtered down 800 years later, where we can't even remember, you know. So the more, it's about embodying it, right?
But see, sound never dies out. It keeps travelling. So what you're learning and teaching is that you're hearing it from the ancestral belonging that came before.
Yeah.
You can separate yourself. It's like Burais, right? I mean, babies. When they're born, they're encompassed in the womb of creation in water. People go on flotation. It's water. We carry 90% of water in our bodies, right? I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm just saying, you've got all the answers. You've already got the answers. It's just a matter of sitting, being who you are, to burst that through, to share. And all you're doing is, this is my story. Yeah. I want to share my story. And people have the same story. Everyone has a story to tell, but they don't know how to bring it out and express it. The only way that they can do that is connect to someone, and whether it's in any one of us, that's a bonus, because they've made it to where they want to be. Not through our help, but because they're on a journey to find out who they really are. That's the way I see it. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I thought it was important to share that as well, through the basis of everything's encompassed in the womb of creation in water. Same with the ocean, everything's in water. Whale, dolphins, sharks, all connect. Don't answer it, please. That's my phone ring. So they're pop, where are your grandmother, dad, brother, uncle? You know what I'm saying? Never ending. But I love it.
And I mean, above, so below, like we're vibrational. We're all.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
It's the as above, so below. We're frequencies, vibration.
My phone's
we're sound. We're connected.
It is not connected now. Kate put a pin on
it. Kirt, send to the conversation now. We're getting.
Okay, can I come back here, Jrumpinjinbah? You said about singing a song before.
And my name first, my name means crow. Traditional fella from up top in old lad, good old fella of mine. He said, I asked him for a name, see, because I'm really night owl dreaming. Right?
Okay.
But he gave me traditional medicine, crow medicine, where everywhere I go, you'll probably all start witnessing crows now, and I'll torment you. Ain't that right, Kirt? So what happens is that the crow cleans up all the dead language, the negativity, everything that's lying around, and keeps everything in place. And when it flies, you hear it sing out, Paul, Paul. He's singing out my name. No, sorry. No, it is, and that's what it means, crow medicine. This here little song is about babies, burrais, gudjagas. And we sang this song, my daughter did, and she sang this song when we participated in a movie. And I was only supposed to be a cultural advisor, but I ended up playing a part in it and got about another 45 mob come and act in it. So, but it was all right. It was pretty good. It was a bit of a Tarantino, but it came out all right. So, yeah, everyone on the movie, I had to counsel them because it was so dramatic they didn't want to play their part. So I was counselling the camera crew, you know, the actors, the producers, the directors, because everyone was so upset. And I said, it's not about the story or the way it happened. Produce the film because it happened back there. We're here and we're showing that we're going forward. And we've got to move forward and be who we are to who us mob are, you know. And when I say us mob, every single one of us in this picture, us mob. That's us mob. We're family now. You can't get out. Once you're in, you're in.
Sing the song.
Yeah. I can't sing like my oldest brother. Stand up.
Can I see you?
This song is about language and little babies and how their mothers looked after them and nurtured them. And every time a baby was born in this country, I was sharing this story earlier with a good brother of mine. I just only met him 4 times now. It's about the ash from the fire that wipes the mucus off. And they do that. And it falls to the ground. And that's the birthing right of that child where it was born. From old granny. So what you got to do when I sing this song, you got to close your eyes and be in that oneness with your grandmothers, and then you connect through that belonging of how it is because you're following the same dreaming and song lines that they walked on. Karu maraya rimara, karu rimaranya, rimaranya rimara, karu rimaranya. Karo maranya rimara, karo rimaranya, rimaranya rimara, karo rimaranya. Makotangnajan, Syrian, Kuminangala, Jrumpinjinbah, Kilobino, Chulaba, Makotangnajan. Thank you.
To the mother.
Hey, my brother.
That was pretty profound. So, look, I mean, honestly, I think it seems like a strange place to end when you're talking about birth, probably, but, you know, we've been on air for an hour now, so I think...
Is that all? Sorry, Andrew.
No problem. Probably the right place to wrap it up, but I can, yeah, I'm sure that we'll be continuing this conversation in one form or another within this mob or within others as we move forward. And again, I would just like, on behalf of the Asia Pacific Spa and Wellness Coalition, just a phenomenal thank you to Cate and Deborah at SoulAdvisor and everybody else who is here, that you've taken the time out of your day to share your knowledge. You know, the community is growing, the spa and wellness industry, space, whatever sector is changing, it is evolving, and, you know, it's expanding all the time. And, as a reminder to everybody, the Asia Pacific Spa and Wellness Coalition, we are totally run by a team of volunteers. So for us to continue our work, we need your membership dollars, please. Right? It's only nominal. Go to our website, APSWC.org, and you can become a member there, and we can keep working forward, and we can keep, you know, producing videos like this for the global wellness community, that we can continue to grow the family. So, yeah, right, Cate, I'll leave it to you to wrap up. But on behalf of the Asia Pacific Spa and Wellness Coalition, a huge thanks to everybody who participated today.
And thank you so much, Andrew, for inviting us, all of us that are part of this community, to be with you. We really, really appreciate it. And we hope the conversation has rippled right out there. And we do hope to continue the continual conversation. This is a conversation that is only just getting going.
Yeah.
So, on behalf of SoulAdvisor, I'd like to thank you so much for having the mind of inquiry to bring this up. And, you know, we're working really hard here at SoulAdvisor to bring focus to earth medicine, to bring focus to coming back to understanding that healing on country and healing country is one and the same thing. So we hope that message gets out there, and look forward to more of this. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you all. Thanks so much, Kirt.
Thanks, Kirt.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks, thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Apple. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, everyone that's out there watching
everybody
us.
listening in.
Cultural respect, blessings, and belonging to everyone. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you.